Welcome to Yoga with Kaila. Let's relax and move our body with our breath. If you are loving these videos, make sure you subscribe to our channel. I'd like to welcome you to today's yoga session. Today we are focusing on shoulder health. I'm so excited to work on this with you. So we're going to start in our mountain pose, rolling those shoulders down and back, hands fall open, heart center rises, chest standing tall, grounding through all four corners of our feet, planting firmly, standing tall in our Uttanasana. Your strong, powerful, grounded mountain. Inhaling, sweeping arms up high overhead. Exhale, hands down through heart center. Inhale, reach. Exhale, down. Let's do one more like that. Inhale. Exhale. Good. Inhale, sweep. Exhale, sinking your sit bones down and back, coming into chair. Inhale, rise, leading through heart center. And we sink back down into chair. So using your own breath here to guide you in this practice, using your own breath to guide you through this warm-up. Moving one breath, one motion. Beginning to warm our bodies up from the inside out. Utilizing that breath, we inhale and exhale through our nose. Maybe seeing if you can find that Ujjayi breath, that gargling Darth Vader sounding breath in the back of your throat. Let's do one more. Inhale. Exhale, sinking into chair. Inhale to rise. Exhale, swan diving forward, forward fold, coming into our forward fold here. Grounding our hands either on the ground, on our shins, or on our thighs in our Uttanasana, forward fold. Allowing that forehead to drop down. Allowing that body to hang. Sit bones rise up high towards the sky. Let's step our right foot back. We're going to come down onto our right knee. Inhale, coming up into our lunge. Wonderful. Exhale, hands back down to the mat, stepping that left foot back, pressing back into our child's pose, Balasana. Inhaling forward, extending those arms, coming into our kneeling plank. And then we exhale, elbows tucked down by our sides into our crocodile pose. Inhale, halfway lift, just using our back strength. So we're not pressing into our hands, into our cobra or baby cobra. Pressing back, coming up into our child's pose, our Balasana. Inhaling, stepping that right foot forward. Coming up into that lunge. So we're coming into our sun salutations here. Placing our hands back down. We're going to step our left foot in to meet our right. Inhaling, reverse your swan dive. Exhale, swan diving forward, forward fold, Uttanasana. This time, picking up our left foot, we step it back, coming down into that kneeling lunge. Inhale to rise. Exhale, sinking down, hands down onto the mat, stepping that right foot back. We find our kneeling position and pressing back into our child's pose, our Balasana. Inhaling forward into plank. Exhaling, crocodile. Elbows come down by our sides. Inhaling into our baby cobra. Exhale, child's pose, back into the Balasana. This time stepping through with our left foot. Inhale to rise. Exhale, hands plant. Step the right foot in to meet it. Reverse your swan dive. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, sinking into chair. And let's hold our chair here. Let's find that yogi strength, that yogi determination. Can you relax those shoulders down into your back? Can you lift through heart center? From here, taking a nice deep inhale. Exhale, left elbow over to our right knee, coming into our prayer twisting chair. Checking in, do you have two knees in one line? Right? If you don't have two knees and one knee is a little bit more forward, maybe we're just working with our hands on our hips and our knee, getting the two knees in one line. So your choice, how deep we go in here. Let's do one more full revolution of breath. Inhale to rise. Exhale into chair. This time, our right elbow to our left knee, twisting, finding that prayer twisting chair here. Now, again, checking in with those knees. If one knee's coming slightly more forward, maybe we need to ease off a little bit, coming with just the hands on the hip and on the knee. Your choice here. Listening to our bodies, removing judgment and expectation, just meeting ourselves where we're at here today. Doing one more full revolution of breath. Inhale to rise. Exhale, forward fold. Uttanasana. So allow yourself to just hang out here in your forward fold. Rolling the weight a little bit more into our feet, allowing those sit bones to rise a little higher. Using any of the grounding options we originally started with for our hands. Listening to our bodies and allowing ourselves to just relax into this posture. Finding strength and guidance here. From here, we're going to step, hop, or jump both feet back into our downward facing dog. Ardha Mukha Svanasana, downward facing dog. Pulling that belly up and in, pressing back through all 5 fingers, allowing those shoulder blades to find a little bit of that mobility, right? As we press into our back, sometimes we stay a little bit forward in almost like a plank position. So we want to press back into those fingers, allowing that chest to fall down towards our feet. Let's go through a little mini flow here. Always the option to drop the knees. Inhaling forward into plank. Option to drop your knees. Exhale, crocodile. Lowering all the way down to your belly. Inhale up to baby cobra. Option to extend those arms behind you. Hands come back. Pressing back, curling those toes under, we press it back into our downward facing dog. Ardha Mukha Svanasana. Let's do one more, just like that. Inhaling forward into plank, option to drop those knees. Exhale, elbows tucked to our sides, into our crocodile, all the way down to the belly. Inhale, lifting baby cobra, option to bring those arms around behind you. Hands down towards your feet. Hands coming back underneath those shoulders, curling the toes under, pressing back, downward facing dog, Ardha Mukha Svanasana. Taking a couple deep breaths here, checking in. Let's lift that right leg up high towards the sky. Let's step it on through. Finding lunge. So always that option to drop that knee if we're coming into our lunge. So we're working on shoulder mobility today. And part of shoulder mobility comes with that upper thoracic mobility, right? That ability to move our upper spine. So we're going to do a couple twists here. So if we're in kneeling or full, your choice here in your lunge, we're going to take that left hand beside the right foot, our right hand to our right sit bone, and we're going to twist towards the knee. So your choice if you're staying in kneeling or if you're up in full. Taking that right hand up towards the sky if it's available to you today. We're in our twisting lunge. Good, maybe we do a couple shoulder rolls here in our twisting lunge. Really beginning to warm up that shoulder socket. go in the other direction. Wonderful. Placing your hands back down onto the mat, stepping it back into our downward facing dog, Ardha Mukha Svanasana. Let's take that left foot up high towards the sky. Let's step it on through, finding lunge on our left side, option to drop that knee. This time we take our right hand beside our left foot, our left hand to our left sit bone, and we twist towards that left knee. If it's available to us, that left arm comes up high towards the sky. We're in our twisting lunge, option to be kneeling or full. Feeling strength in the shoulders. Let's do some shoulder circles. Let's go in the other direction. Wonderful. You got this. Good. Let's place our hand back down on the mat. Step it back. Ardha Mukha Svanasana. Downward facing dog. You got this. This time, let's do this one more time. Right foot up to the sky. Step it on through. Finding that lunge. Kneeling or full. Your choice. Hands coming up to a prayer position. So whether you're kneeling or full, we're lifted nice and tall through heart center. And this time, we're taking our left elbow over towards our right knee, coming into our prayer twisting lunge. So same thing as in our twisting chair. If we don't want to go as far, we can still take the hand to the sit bone, hand to the knee. Your choice. Always the option to drop that knee. Relaxing through the face. Big, happy, smiling face as if you can. We're having fun. Exhale, hands back down to the mat, stepping back, downward facing dog. Let's take that left leg up high towards the sky. Let's step it on through, finding that lunge, kneeling or full. Inhale, lifting through heart center, finding our prayer hands. Our Anjali Mudra, right? So it actually means peace, right? This mudra with our hands means peace. So I bring peace to you and I bring peace to me. It's quite wonderful. Let's take that right elbow, that right chicken wing. Let's twist it on towards that left knee. Prayer twisting lunge on the other side. And then again, you have that option. If prayer twisting lunge is too much, you can drop down to your kneeling prayer, or you can bring the hand to the hip, hand to the knee. We're breathing deeply, listening to our bodies. Maybe we're finding that ujjayi breathing, right? That deep back throat breathing, stimulating that vagus nerve here. Exhale, hands back down to our mat, step it back. Ardha Mukha Svanasana, downward facing dog. Let's go through a little flow here. Inhaling forward into our plank, coming down, Chaturanga Dandasana. Crocodile. Inhaling, baby cobra. Option to extend those arms around behind you. Hands coming back down to the mat, pressing it back. Ardha Mukha Svanasana. Let's hop, step, or float our feet to the top of the mat. Coming into our Uttanasana, our forward fold. Breathe. Whew. You feel that heart rate rise? A little bit of extra breathing here. Taking a nice deep bend through the knees, rising through heart center, reversing that swan dive up nice and tall. Exhale, hands, Tadasana. Okay, so now we've warmed up the shoulders. We've really begun to warm up our body. Let's begin to bring some movement through the shoulder joint. So the first one I'm going to challenge you with today is our eagle posture. So let's pick one leg that we're going to start with. I'm going to start balancing on my left leg. So I'm going to take my right leg up and over. So arms out to the sides. Let's exhale our right arm under our left arm. Coming into our twisting elbows. Yes. Okay, so now we've got this. Taking a nice deep inhale here, sinking our sit bones down and back. Chest rises. Now let's take that right leg up and over the left leg. Coming into our eagle posture. Now, if this balance is too much, you could just try and cross at the ankles, right? We're working on wherever we're at today, allowing that chest to rise, sinking those sit bones a little bit more, pointing those toes in the direction we want them to go, right? We want them to eventually wrap around that left calf. Breathing, balancing. If you're falling out, using it, or your yogi strength, your yogi determination, getting right back into it. Whew. Finding the serenity within the posture, finding that moment of peace, that moment of calm. Taking another deep breath here. Inhale, rise. Exhale, let's just do a big, let it go. Let's do one more like that. Inhale. Exhale, let it go. Whew. All right. Let's do the other side. Inhale, arms lift. This time we're going to exhale the left arm under the right hand. See, one of these sides is always easier than the other, isn't it? And ideally, you want to bring your hands to match. If your hands aren't matching, we're just reaching wherever we can today. Okay, let's draw those sit bones down and back. This time, let's lift the left leg up and over. Crossing, crisscross, pointing those toes in the direction to wrap around that right calf. Rising through heart center, sinking your sit bones down and back. Chest lifts, core is tight. Shoulder strength here. Option to lift the elbows just slightly here. And breathing, finding that serenity, finding that place of peace and calm in this posture. Right? So often in yoga, we don't realize that we can take our lessons here off our mat, right? Can you find peace and calm in the uncomfortable? Yes? Great. Now can you find peace and calm in the uncomfortable in your life? The answer is yes. Inhale one more time deeply. Inhale to rise. Exhale, let it go. One more. Inhale. Exhale, let it go. Wonderful. Inhale to rise. Exhale, swan diving forward, forward fold, Uttanasana. Grounding, recentering ourselves. We're going to pick up our hands, palms up, and they're going to tuck underneath of our feet. So if this isn't available to us today, we could use a block where we're reaching underneath a block and just working on this, right? Just working on the strength here. Bending deeply through the knees. You could also use a strap here, allowing that belly to sandwich onto your thighs, dropping that forehead down towards the knees, lifting those sit bones to rise, pulling with the hands as we extend through those sit bones, rocking our weight slightly forward into our hands, massaging with our toes almost to massage out those wrists. We come into gorilla posture here. Using that strength to pull with our arms, extending through the sit bones. Wonderful. Let's take those hands out. Let's step, hop, or jump back, your choice. Ardha Mukha Svanasana, downward facing dog. Option to go through one flow on your own if you want. This is your yoga practice. You have that option. You can say, no, I want to stay here in my downward facing dog and walk it out. This is your choice. If you're going through a flow, go ahead at your own pace. Meeting in our downward facing dog when you're ready. Wonderful. Let's drop our knees down, pressing it back into Balasana, child's pose. Option to bring those arms down by your sides. Wonderful. Let's extend those hands out, coming up onto all fours. Finding our hands are planted underneath our shoulders, our knees are planted underneath our hips. So we're going to start with our left arm for thread the needle here. Let's inhale that left arm up nice and high. Exhale, threading that left arm under our right arm, between our right knee and our right arm, dropping that shoulder down to the mat. Coming into our thread the needle. So you can leave the right hand there for support. You can take it away if you'd like as well. Up nice and tall. Again, completely up to you. I prefer to leave it there for support. I feel like I get more of a stretch to my shoulder, but it is completely up to you. This is your yoga practice. So I want you to really bring that awareness into that shoulder joint, into that shoulder capsule. Are you holding tension? Can you let it go? What are the tension patterns that you hold in your body? Are you crunching your toes? Are you crunching your fingers? Can you release them just slightly? Are you wrinkling that space on your forehead? Or can you find a little bit of softness here, a little bit of grace? Inhaling, coming back up through center, pressing into that right hand. Finding that we are in our all fours or our tabletop position, maybe giving yourself a little wiggle, let it go. Listening to our bodies, right? Let's inhale that right arm up high towards the sky. Let's come into that thread the needle, dropping that right arm under that left arm, between that left arm and knee, dropping the head down to the mat, coming into our thread the needle here. Option to take that left arm up above. You also have that option to keep that left arm on the mat. Finding that a little bit of that dynamic tension as it pulls into that upper back, into that upper shoulder girdle, right? We have a ton of muscles in our shoulders that are located on our back. We often associate them with back muscles, but they're part of our shoulder capsule. They're our rotator cuff, right? Going to give them a little stretch, a little bit of gratitude, helping us so much through our days. Can you relax your fingers? Can you relax your toes? And can you soften that shoulder down onto the mat a little bit more? Are you pressing or holding any kind of tension there? Inhaling, coming back up through center, coming back onto all fours, giving yourselves that little wiggle. All right, let's sit up nice and tall. Coming into our hero pose. So hands are planted onto our knees, chest is lifted nice and tall, core is tight. So we're going to come into our cow face pose. So it's really about our arms, cow face arms, right? So this is a posture I find very difficult, but if you had a strap, that might be very beneficial. And I'll show you how to kind of hold it. So if you had a strap, I would place it in your right hand to begin with, because that's going to be the hand that's going to go up nice and high. So if you're using a strap, please feel free to do so. We're going to inhale that right arm up nice and high. Exhale, dropping it down our back. So if you've got a strap here, when you bring that left arm around, you're going to bring the left arm to grab onto the strap around behind you, right? So that left arm is going to grab. If you don't have a strap like me, you're just going to reach your hands towards each other. So you can see my fingers are almost meeting on this side. So opening up through that shoulder capsule. Now, often people crunch forward like this. So I want you to lift through heart center, allowing that chest to rise nice and tall. Just bringing the hands to a point where you feel a stretch. You don't want to go to a point where you're forcing the stretch if you're trying to pull with the opposite arm to get the arm up. So just feeling that stretch coming into our cow face arms. And let's give ourselves a big smile. We are enjoying this. We are stretching through that shoulder joint. It feels so good. I love it. Exhale, hands back out. Give those arms a little shake. Shake it out. Right? It always feels a little bit sore. And I don't know about you, but I do have a shoulder injury. So there's one of these sides that hates it a little bit more than the other. All right. So if you've got a strap, you're switching hands. Your strap's now going to go into your left hand. So we'll inhale to rise that left hand. Exhale, sinking it down and back. We'll see if you guys can guess which side is my shoulder injury. It's taking that right arm out to the side. Let's bend it around. And if you've got that strap, you're grabbing on, right? So if you've got that strap, you're grabbing with the right hand and reaching our hands towards each other. Whew. My right shoulder is tighter, but it is not the one that I injured. Give you that hint, hey? So making sure that we're not curling, rounding forward, lifting up, sitting up nice and tall. Whew, nice deep stretches through the shoulders here today. They need it, right? We stretch our legs so often and our back so often, but how much do we bring that grace and gratitude to our shoulders? And they really do so much work for us. And they are one of the biggest joints that tend to have an injury. It's so common to have a shoulder injury, so we need to practice a little bit more stretching through there. Let's do one more breath in our cow face. See if you can make a big smile while you take an inhale through your nose. Exhale, let it go. Shake those arms out. Oh yeah. Can you feel like the blood flowing back into your hands? I don't know about you, but my hands tend to go a little bit numb during that. Maybe that's a good thing. Maybe it's not. I'm not quite sure. Okay, so that felt really good, right? So now let's get a little bit of shoulder chest expansion. So let's inhale, arms up nice and tall. Exhale, drawing those elbows nice and wide open. You should feel a little bit of expansion here in your chest. And you'll notice I'm lifting through heart center and I'm leaning slightly back. So I'm going to show you from the side. So I'm leaning slightly back. My back muscles are engaged and I'm sitting up nice and tall. And I'm getting this beautiful chest expansion, stretching through the front side of my body. Wonderful. Exhale, let it go. Shake it out. Let's shift our hips off to the side, bringing our legs around front, finding our staff pose, sitting up nice and tall. Wonderful. So again, this is all for shoulder health. So we need to practice different ways in which we move our shoulders. So from staff pose, we're going to take our hands slightly behind us, so right behind our sit bones, and let's go ahead and work on lifting up our hips up high towards the sky, coming into our incline plank or reverse plank, right? Lifting those sit bones up. We're working on that shoulder strength, that shoulder mobility here. Breathing, seeing if you can press into your heels a little more. If you need to, you can bend your knees. That's fine. Come into more of a tabletop position. You can just shorten that lever. That's cool. Completely up to you. I love this. It stretches out my biceps quite a bit and into those shoulders a little bit more. So your option, reverse plank or tabletop. Let's slowly, slowly come back down. And we're going to forward fold. So from here, we walk our hands down and forward and allow that forehead to drop. Just letting it go, letting all of the postures that we've been working on, that little micro back bends and chest expansions and shoulder stretches, just to kind of release a little bit here. Okay, let's walk back up and in. Let's take our right hand up and over to the outside of our left knee, bending through that left knee. We grab onto that left leg. Our left hand comes around behind us. And we're going to begin to twist and hug that left knee. So you should get a little bit of upper thoracic stretch, mobility. And if it's available to us, we're looking at the wall behind us. Just rigging out the spine here and working on that stretch. So I don't know about you, but I get a nice stretch up here, right? Up in that upper spine, underneath the shoulder blade. Let's bring our neck back to center and slowly unraveling our spine. Good, let's switch. Bending through that right knee, extending through the left leg. Our left hand comes around to give our right knee a hug. Our right hand comes around behind us. We lift up through heart center and we twist towards that knee, hugging that right knee in towards our body, twisting, looking over that right shoulder if it's available to us. Really grabbing on to that right knee, seeing if you can get a little bit more mobility through the underneath side of that left shoulder blade. Right? It causes a little bit of traction. And that's kind of what we want to help those muscles relax. And slowly, slowly bring that head to center and unraveling. Let's bring our feet to butterfly. You're like, Kayla, how are we going to find opening and butterfly in my shoulders? Don't worry, I got you. So from butterfly, we're going to take our one hand over to the side. So I'm going to take my right hand over to the side. Inhale, left arm up high, and we're going to come slightly forward. So rather than coming right over to the side with our left hand, it comes slightly forward, as if to reach almost like your butterfly antenna. And you should feel a nice stretch through your back on that side. Again, remembering that we have all of these rotator cuff muscles on the backside of our shoulder blade, right? And so these need that little bit of traction, a little bit of dynamic tension as well, that stretching motion to help our back feel better. So it's not always just about shoulders or just about back. The whole body is so interconnected, and it's so important to stretch everything and make sure that everything is feeling a little bit limber, because if one area is a little tight, then the rest of the body is going to feel tight. Let's bring that left arm back, left hand down to the side. Inhale, right arm up high towards the sky, coming up and forward with that right hand. Finding that beautiful stretch and reach. You might notice that on one side you feel the stretch a little different than the other. Like for me, my right side, I can totally feel this all the way down into my right hip. Did not feel that on the left side. And knowing that it's okay for things to feel a little different on each side, but paying attention, which side is a little tighter, right? In our yoga practice, we often treat both sides equally. So knowing that outside of your practice, maybe you're going to come back and give that one side that's a little tighter a little extra love, a little extra stretch. Or maybe you're going to pause this video and come back to the one side that is a little tighter while you're during your practice. And that's cool too, right? Just practicing some grace. If you're equally stretching both sides all the time, you're not going to limber up the side that maybe is a little bit tighter, right? It's never going to match up with the one side that's a little looser if we're not giving it a little bit of extra stretching and a little bit of extra time to release. Inhale that right arm back. Let's bring our knees back in towards each other, rolling back onto our spine. Knees tuck in towards our chest. We're going to drop those feet down to the mat, extending the left leg out nice and long. Arms fall open wall to wall, or you can come into cactus arms if you'd like, right? Bending at those elbows. We're going to push into our right foot, lifting our hips up and over to the left. Let's draw those hips in a rotation. So if it feels good, you can extend that right arm out nice and long. Palm can turn down, and you'll notice a stretch down that right arm. Remember how we were talking about the twisting, right? People don't often realize that the opposite hip is associated with the opposite shoulder, right? So my right shoulder is associated with my left hip, and my left hip is associated with my right shoulder. Did I do that right? I don't know that I said that right. Right shoulder, left hip, right hip, left shoulder. Irregardless, the point is that there's a crisscross in our fascial lines, right, that stretches from shoulder to opposite hip. And often the twisting rotation movements are where we can get some benefit and a little bit more relief and relaxation for our joints and our muscles. Let's inhale, coming back through center, coming back into those cactus arms if it feels good. Let's bend our left knee, extending through that right leg, pressing into the left hip, lift our hips up and over to the right, drawing that knee over, and then extending that left arm out. Option palm up or palm down, depending on what you're looking for here out of that shoulder stretch. You can play around with different directions too. I mean, I've got a wall right here, so I can't really extend my arm right out long, but you could try, what does it feel like if my arm's a little bit higher up? What does it feel like if my arm's a little lower down? Or you can stay in those cactus arms. Breathing, noticing your breath, noticing the feelings that you're having within your body. How does the stretch feel? How does it make you feel? Are you feeling tight? Are you feeling any point of being stuck at any situation? Can you find a little bit of softness? Can you relax that left shoulder back a little bit more? Can you draw that right or left knee across a little further? Are you clenching your jaw? Are you holding your breath? Can you find your breath in this posture? Taking a nice deep inhale, coming back through center. This time drawing both knees into your chest. Give yourself a hug. Tucking in nice and tight. Exhale, arms out nice and long, legs out nice and long. Give yourself a really big good morning stretch and then draw those hands down to your sides. Shoulders roll open, feet roll open, and we come into our Savasana, our corpse pose and final relaxation. So taking the moment here to find your breath, to check in with your body and noticing any feelings that you're having. Can you feel your heartbeat in your fingertips? Can you draw your breath into your toes? Let's bring some awareness and guidance to your breath. So you have the option to pause the video here and take a longer Savasana. If you like just a short Savasana today, keep the video going. We'll take another deep inhale here, filling our body with gratitude and grace, so much love, and being just incredibly grateful that our body was able to take us through this practice today. It's going ahead and bending our knees, rolling onto one side, taking a moment here, as much time as you need, and then slowly, slowly making your way to an easy seated position near the top of your mat. Thank you so much for practicing with me today. The light in me bows and honors the light in you. Namaste.